I have found a true competitor to the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, one that I think honestly may be better. And today I'm going to try to take these two guns, compare them, and tell you which one I like the best. Now, I'll be honest with you, this has been the hardest comparison that I've ever had to do because I pick a winner, right? I don't normally leave you guys hanging, or I try not to. I try to pick the best one that I think. This is a hard one. I'm gonna have to look at every single feature on these guns to be able to determine a winner, and that's what we're gonna do. Now, don't let the Smith & Wesson shirt fool you. I really like the Canik MC9. So let's get to the table. Let's see which one of these guns is the best and why. So we're gonna take the MC9 and we're gonna take the Shield Plus, and I'm gonna tell you at the end of the video which one I like the best and why. I'm gonna tell you pros and cons on each. We're gonna do some shooting throughout the video, and I'm just gonna give you my straight up opinion. Now, I believe that both of these guns, as of right now, in 2023, are two of the best that you can actually buy as far as carry guns go. And I'm also gonna show you when we're at the range, things you can do with these carry guns because of they're, a little bit bigger in size, a little bit heavier, but the payoff is really significant when you go to these larger carry guns. Of course, I'm kind of referencing larger compared to like your DB9s, your Glock 42s, some of the smaller carry guns that are still, can be really great guns, but these just offer something a little bit more. Now, of course, whenever I do one of these videos and I pick one of these guns that I think is the best, there's people that are happy. It's like, man, you just validated my purchase. And there's other people that are not so happy about that. However you feel after the video, just let me speak my piece, and I'd love to hear from you down below. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the specs here really quick. Now, keep in mind, the Shield Plus comes in a lot of different flavors. You have the Performance Center. By the way, I know how stupid that looks, without a cover on there and without an optic. That I talked about that in a recent video. But regardless, you have the Shield Plus Performance Center, fiber optic sights, a little bit longer barrel, all that good stuff. You also have the 30 Super Carry. So this is a fantastic round. I really hope this thing starts to gain traction. Other manufacturers start to make, guns in that round, because if not, it's probably going to go the way of 5.7, to be honest with you. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. We're just talking about the regular Shield Plus. So 17.9 ounces unloaded, 1.1 inches in width, overall width, and 4.6 inches high. When we're talking about the Canik Mete, which I guess is the correct way to pronounce it. Thank you very much for the people that corrected me in that video. 21.2 ounces. You also have 4.5 inches high and 1.1 inches in width. Now, of course, the height is with standard magazines. And so what's nice about both these guns is on the Shield Plus, you have a 10-round base configuration. If that's not good enough, you have a 13-round extended. And if that's not good enough, you have a 15-round boomstick right there. So very good magazine capacity, I think, across the board. Something that you can use to, obviously conceal a little bit easier in the 10-round, and then have a 15-round or 13-round backup magazine. Or something you can take to the range and not have to reload nearly as often. The Canik is very similar. You have a 12-round base configuration. By the way, it's 1/10 of an inch shorter too, and you get 2 more rounds. That's pretty impressive. And you have their 15-round BAM stick right there. Let's go ahead and compare the sizes so you get an idea what this looks like. Not just talking about dimensions, but how they actually look compared side by side. So the Canik is going to be on your left and my left. You look at the length, pretty freaking close. You look at the width, again, they're 1.1 inches wide. We look at the height, this is interesting. And let's make sure we get them as close as possible. Again, it's 1/10 of an inch. It's really hard to show that. Do you see any kind of difference? Maybe a little bit. The Shield Plus is on bottom there. For all intents and purposes, man, they are the same exact size. Of course, the shield is a little bit lighter, a couple ounces lighter there. The Canik is going to give you 2 additional rounds in a base configuration and be literally just a hair shorter than the Shield Plus. Let's talk about the features, man. What makes these things unique? Starting with the Canik. So we have front and rear slide serrations. I like the way they cut these serrations. They go all the way to the top. This has a pretty stout spring in this gun, dude. And so having the ability to grab onto these and easily rack the gun is important. Again, it is one of the stiffer spring, smaller concealed carry guns out there. Most of them are gonna have a stiffer spring anyways, because the smaller the gun, you need that for it to reliably run, the gun. This one just has a little bit stronger spring than most. You have a Picatinny rail right here. That's significant because most of the guns in this size range don't have that. So if you're using this as an only gun, if you will, you want to put a light or a laser on there, you can easily do that. A little bit of serrations here on the front of the trigger guard, undercut right there. It's got a really good feel in the hand, man. Even in the standard configuration, grip texturing is really nice. Magazine release is easy to get to, kind of an oval design with some serrations right there. Oversized slide release, slide stop. One thing you'll notice is you really want to get that thing all the way back to the rear. Again, that spring in there is pretty stout. That is ambidextrous. Here's your takedown notches right here. Loaded chamber indicator, which this will literally stick up a round in the chamber. See that? Kind of shows red there too. All right, if we look at the Shield Plus, you have front and rear slide serrations, although those serrations do not come up all the way on the Shield Plus. If you're one to do press checks or something, may make it a little harder to grip onto. You have a standard set of sights. So 3-dot sights in this configuration right there. They are steel sights, kind of ramped, almost like Novak style, not really Novak style, but you get the idea. You can't really use this as leverage if you want to run this off of a boot, a belt, or anything like that. On the Canik, they have an advantage there because that one does have a lip, a strong lip right there where you could run that off of a belt, a boot, table, whatever. The sights on the Canik are a little bit different, blacked out in the rear, and then that nice white dot in the front, giving it a good contrast. One thing on the Canik too, you have a striker indicator right there in the rear. By the way, the Canik does not come with a manual safety. The Shield Plus, if you want to get a manual safety, you have that option. No rail right here. There are companies that make integrated like trigger guard setups. So if you want to run light, laser combo, whatever, you can do that. It's just not as easy as it is on the Canik MC9. Rounded off trigger guard, undercut. Again, this is one of the better feeling guns in the hand. Smith & Wesson, when they first came out with the Shield, it was really just very minimal as far as the texturing. Then they came out with the M2.0, which was too aggressive. Now they've toned it down. They find a nice middle ground there, and it feels good in the hand, and yet it's not going to tear up your skin or your undershirt or anything like that. Magazine release, very well placed there. Again, kind of an oval design with a little bit of texturing. Slide stop right here. Not as accessible as it is on the Canik, but still one you can use as a release if you want to, and not ambidextrous either, although your magazine release on both guns is reversible there for left-handed shooters. Viewport right here, so nothing really sticks up on this gun. You just, view down in the chamber. You don't even have to break open the action there. You can just see if there's brass down in the chamber to verify. Both guns have steel sights, and both guns, right around the, I think the MSRP is $439, something like that. MSRP, depending on the version you get here, $500, some range of $550, I think, on the Shield Plus, again, depending on which version you decide to go with. Here's what makes these guns stand apart. They're a little bit heavier, right? They give you multiple configurations as far as your magazines, being ultra concealable to a configuration like this where you can have a full-size grip so you can shoot them really well. But regardless of whatever configuration you have or whatever magazine you have in the gun, here is a big advantage with both of these. Smith & Wesson has come up with their best striker fire trigger to date. Flat face, dingus in the middle, get to the wall, boom. Brakes, here's the reset, boom. One more time. Awesome trigger, dude. The Canik MC9, little red dingus right there. Not exactly a flat face trigger, but it doesn't have a really deep curve to it either. You get to the wall, boom. Reset, right there. That's what makes these carry guns stand apart from so many of the others, which I'm about to show you right now. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of running and gunning with the Canik MC9 and the Shield Plus. Let's see how this goes. Woo! Let's go, baby. So I made that decision to start being more active when I use some of these guns because I want to see how not only do they do on the move and just a variety of situations, but how do I do when I'm on the move, when my heart rate is accelerated, and kind of get used to those things, shooting behind cover and, you know, a variety of different situations. And I literally felt like I had full-size handguns with each of these. I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage because I had, you know, either of these guns either when I was walking to the target or when I was running and gunning from, you know, cover to cover, if you will. And that's the advantage that you're going to get. So obviously we've talked about the features. We've talked about how they shoot. They are both just mind-blowingly good when it comes to carry guns, man. They got great triggers. They feel good in the hand. Very natural point of aim. Both of them have, you know, a decent set of sights on them. So, like I said, we got to look at everything when it comes to which one of these guns is the best. So let's go ahead and move on to how they carry. If you are a concealed carrier, you're tired of picking a bunch of holsters that you don't like, Holster is the company that I use. We've been working with them for a very long time, and they are an awesome American company. And they make one of the slimmest and trimmest and more comfortable carry guns out there with a variety of features, a variety of different options, outside the waistband, inside the waistband, tuckable clips, whatever you want to go with, soft loops, all of that kind of stuff. Keeping your package small is what Holster does with their holsters. So if you like this style and you want something super comfortable that doesn't cause you to sweat, make sure you use the link and discount code down below for Holster. So that's what I use primarily, and this setup right here with a Core Essentials gun belt is how I will run pretty much all of my guns all the time. So what I did, because Holster doesn't have one yet for the MC9, I found a holster that is close. This is a holster. This is not something they would recommend, and this is not something I would recommend to you. You want a gun and a holster combination where the holster is made for that gun. You'll notice it kind of snaps in there, but it's not made for the gun. You have a little bit of extra, you know, length right in there. When they fit their holsters to their guns, they fit them damn near perfect with just, you know, a little bit extra, like a high sight shield and stuff, you know, so if you want to run night sights or anything like that, but they fit them to the gun. I just carried it like this just to give me a good idea because, yeah, the Canik comes with more for the money. You know, it comes with a cleaning kit, and it comes with the brush, and it comes with a, you know, a holster, and, you know, all of this kind of awesome stuff. But I wanted a direct comparison, as direct as I can get. So let's set up and let me show you how each one of these looks inside the waistband here. Let's look at the Shield Plus first. One thing I like about these profile holsters is how easy they are to get on and off. So there's the gun right there. Kind of leave my shirt untucked so you can see it. Cover it up, right? From the side, depending on what kind of shirt you wear or whatever, it conceals really well, okay? And so, again, holster, gun belt, that's gonna make this process so much easier for you. I've said it a bunch of times, and I'll continue to say it because it's true. Very minimal printing. If I need to get to the gun, boom, right? It's kind of a slow draw. If I need to get to the gun, I'm right on target, ready to go. And every time I'm drawing this gun, one thing that I love about both of these guns is I am literally right on target with very minimal, sometimes no adjustments needed too, okay? That's that natural point of aim that both of these guns possess. And so, drawing and reholstering and the way this gun carries, the Shield Plus specifically, it is so freaking comfortable in this setup, dude. We got the Canik, the MC9. Same type of setup. Again, you know, both these guns are on the shorter side of height-wise. So 4.5 and 4.6 respectively. That gives you enough to grab onto as far as the grip, but it's not so small where it makes that task, you know, harder than what it needs to be, I guess, right? Drawing the gun, boom. This one, again, it's almost right there on target each and every time. There's no guesswork, very minimal movement that I actually have to do. When I draw and present, I am basically right there on target. You can kind of see how this one prints. Boom, arms down. This is becoming harder as I go through each one of the features and how they carry and how they shoot and all this kind of stuff. Let's get back to the table. Let's see if I can come up with a couple more things and pick a winner here. We're gonna go over the pros and cons, and maybe by looking at pros and cons, I can actually pick a winner. Like I said, this is one of the hardest videos I've ever had to do where I'm actually picking the best of one of these two. Let's go back to the table. All right, we're back at the table here. Let's talk about the pros and cons. Most of the time when I'm doing pros and cons, I'm just doing one gun, but I always try to take pros and cons, you know, in a slightly different direction when I'm comparing the two. Okay, so I'll kind of explain why I think something is a con in this video, but maybe in the standalone video I didn't mention that, okay? But you know, if you wanna find out more about each one of these guns, I've done reviews on both of them. Go check those out. Let's talk about the cons on the Shield Plus here first. This is the first thing that comes to mind, the ramp style sight. Again, if you need to reload, it is so much better to have a sight with a shelf that you can use to manipulate this gun one-handed. You know, if you're trying to fend somebody off, or, you know, whatever the case may be, there's a variety of different reasons you may need to do that. It's so much better to have that kind of sight right there as opposed to the Shield Plus. Also, I feel like they're going to change this, you know, when they come out with a new version, you know, whatever that may be, of the shields. But as of right now, these front side serrations, these need to come all the way up. So if you're gonna have them there, not only for aesthetic purposes, but for the functionality of the gun, if you wanna be able to use that, you know, I kind of hate that they stopped them right there. Is it good enough? Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, those serrations need to come up all the way. Also, you do not have an ambidextrous slide stop for left-handed shooters. Now again, that's, you know, most left-handed shooters just get used to it anyways, but when we compare that to the MC9, which has it, it's a con. Also, the lack of a rail there. Now, I don't really carry a light or laser on my carry guns. If I'm gonna use it as a combo carry gun and home defense, well, then yeah. And so that's the only reason that I mention it. It's not a huge con for me, but when I compare the two guns, it is a little bit of a con, especially if this is gonna be something like your only gun that you're using for, again, not only concealed carry, but home defense as well. But all in all, I'd rather carry just a little flashlight on me as opposed to carrying a light on my gun. All right, so that kind of rounds out the cons on the Shield Plus. What about the MC9? First of all, it's a little bit heavier. So I think, you know, it does work to its advantage in more ways than not, but compared to what Smith & Wesson was able to do, you know, a couple of ounces can make a pretty big difference, you know, inside the waistband when you're talking about carrying it all day. It doesn't sound like it would, but it definitely can. So compared to the Shield Plus, those couple of ounces, I'll kind of say that's a con towards the MC9. Also, the magazines do not drop freely out of the gun like they do the Smith & Wesson. Now, most of us are going to assist that process anyways, but I want that magazine to fall clearly out of the gun, and it's not hitting the fatty part of my hand. I mean, you can clearly see that that's not the case, right? If I hold them at an angle, if I hold them just straight up where gravity's working with it, they still tend to just kind of stop, you know, halfway or a little bit less, as opposed to just freely dropping out of the gun. If you're empty or you need to make a reload or whatever, I want that magazine out of there. Not to say that I'm not going to assist, but in this case, I don't really have to because it just kind of, you know, gets out of there. Now, another thing that's interesting when I'm comparing the two guns, the Shield Plus feels incredible in the hand. I personally see no real need to change it, but Canik does give you the ability to change back straps, which is pretty freaking cool, man. A lot of these smaller guns like this, you don't have that ability, and so that's kind of a knock towards the Shield Plus when I'm comparing both. Although I love the way this gun feels in my hand, the fact that you can change that with the MC9 does make it a more usable or customizable for people with larger or even smaller hands. Shield Plus, baby, let's go. 15 round mag. Okay, well, that is pretty impressive for a gun this size. We're about 12 yards away. This is the 15 round mag. Again, we're only loading them to 10. Let's try the small plates over here. All right, failure to feed. We're within 100 rounds, by the way. Also, we got to look at the size of the gun. So 4.6 inches high, 4.5 inches high, where you're going to save a couple of ounces here in weight, which is a good thing. You're going to gain 2 additional rounds with the MC9. go.
Oh, Dad.
Yeah, it's all right. Ah, so 2 additional rounds there, or 2 less ounces of weight with the Shield Plus. You got to kind of make that determination for yourself, which one's more important. Honestly, you know, if it was just coming down to that, I would take either or. This one's going to be a little bit more comfortable inside the waistband. This one's going to give you a slight advantage in round count. You know, now neither one of these guns are as easy to draw the slide back on like the Shield Easy. The Canik MC9 is significantly harder, I think, to rack. And that's even considering, you know, how new this gun once was. You know, I mean, obviously I have more rounds in this gun, so it has lightened up a little bit, but I haven't shot nearly as many rounds out of the 30 Super Carry. And it's still an easier gun to rack. So the spring tension under this, if you have any kind of arthritis or any issues with your hand, that can be overcome. But at the same time, it does take quite a bit of force to get that gun back to the rear to chamber a new round, okay? So again, I'm looking at every little thing I can to assist me in picking a winner here. The way they break down, the internal components, you can see that dual captive recoil spring, very similar. This one actually goes together a little bit differently. That's not too bad. You don't really start up at the top like you would most striker fire guns. Take it to about right in there. Boom. Shield Plus, lock it to the rear, make sure we're clear. Boom, pull the trigger, and there you go. Dual captive recoil spring, stainless steel components. They are both very high quality, right? Now, this is just me. This is just one of my personal things. You can agree or disagree. I like the fact that the Shield Plus is made in the United States. The Canik is made in Turkey. What does that really mean? Smith & Wesson is ingrained in American heritage, and to me, that is a pro towards Smith & Wesson. What about some of the other pros? I think the trigger is a little bit better on the Shield Plus. I think because of the practice and the amount of time that I've spent with the Shield Plus, I also think I'm a little bit better on the range with it, but they're so close. I just, maybe just a little bit better. Very nice. Also, the fact that there's so many people that have had the Shield Plus and are able to speak to its reliability over many generations now. Mind you, the Shield Plus is just on another level, man. It really is. It's kind of like that perfect carry gun. Now with the introduction of the 15 round mags, it really makes this, you know, one of the best options out there. Where it was lacking a little bit compared to some of the more higher capacity carry guns that we've seen, i.e. the Hellcat and the X Macro, now it can still be kind of right in that same range. Also, the different configurations you can get in the Shield Plus. If you want to go with the 30 Super Carry, you want to give that a shot, boom, you can do that. You're also going to get more capacity if you go with the 30 Super Carry. If you want to go with the Performance Center, well, you have that option as well. Fiber optic sights, optics ready, obviously you have all of that. If you want to go with a safety or without a safety, you have that option as well. You're going to get more options with the Shield Plus. Pros on the Canik. I like the slide serrations better on this gun. I think overall it's just better. Also, no matter what configuration you get, they all come optics ready and they're going to come at a little bit cheaper price. I like the fact that it has the rail on here, and I like the fact that you can configure that back strap to fit the needs of a lot of different people, right? Also, what this gun comes with is a pretty good freaking value. So you can basically buy this gun, and if you need to save up money for a holster or whatever the case may be, you still have the option to go ahead and start carrying this gun because of everything that you get with it. So that leads us to my decision. And so this is, like I said, this is one of the harder ones that I've done, if not the hardest one that I've done. And honestly, it comes down to just my personal feelings towards each of them. Although I think they are both top 5, the Shield Plus still is the one that I will be carrying most of the time. I trust it, and I'm one. I love different things. I love new guns, and I especially if I see a gun like this that runs reliably, has a ton of good features. I mean, when it comes down to it, this is a better value. It comes with more features, and it's more customizable than the Shield Plus. I just personally am attached to this gun because it's proven itself for so many years now. Now, if in a couple of years or whatever, the MC9 is continuing to evolve and run, as reliably as it has been up to this point, I have no problem bumping the Shield Plus. But as of right now, man, the Shield Plus is still that carry gun that I will grab 9 times out of 10, unless I'm testing a new one like I have with the MC9 recently. I just love the Shield Plus. I think it is the cream of the crop and edges out the Canik just a little bit more because of the time that I've had with it and how reliable this gun has been. So that's it, man. That's my opinion. Some of you may be happy, others of you not so much. Either way, leave me a comment down below. If you want to support what I do, you can subscribe right here. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit your notifications so you never miss a video from me. Also, if you want to join the channel, check out some of the cool tier rewards and perks and exclusive content and stuff that I do on Patreon, early access, all that good stuff. Make sure you use the links down below. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.